So guys, due to the copyrights, I have decided to unmute the music. But well, guys, this was a night to remember. As you can see how our sisters were bringing it down on the main stage, celebrating the freedom that we have enjoyed for the past 60 years. I don't know what you are doing, but to be honest with you, this independence was a success. We had so much fun, we enjoyed it, we ate, we danced, and of course there was networking.
If there's 50 kids in the class, it would be like 2 classes combined.
There were 2 or 3 classes combined. And no microphone, by the way, no microphone. I just had to shout, you know. And if you don't understand it, that is your problem. No computers, no nothing.
What happened to kids that didn't listen?
They failed. And that's another thing. There were very, very few schools in Zambia. Very few. The public schools, you know, which the government tried to make, there were very few. I think you all can remember Munari. You know Munari? Munari was not an African school. Munari was for whites. And you know, the people who helped the Zambians are the missionaries. And I said like Dr. Livingstone. He came also pretending that he's a missionary. You know, Scots missionary in many lands. And then you had the Anglicans, you know. And then you had, the Anglicans, the Church of England. The Church of England. And then you had the Catholics. So the Catholics, well, they did something good, but they were also bad. I grew up in a Catholic school. I went to a boarding school. But they were good. At least the teaching was good. But they were a bit cruel to us, but we learned to be tough. So the British, in southern province you had the Scottish missionaries. In northern province you had the Catholics. Some French had come in through Tanzania. And then in Barosland, I think you also had the Catholics, the Jesuits. So the Losses were very, very educated because of those missionaries. And the members got some education. Now the other provinces where these missionaries were not, there was very little education.
I heard stories whenever I was little, and I still hear them. Whenever back in the day in Zambia, whenever kids didn't listen, they get beat in class with a stick.
I'm sorry, don't report me. If you don't listen, you make noise and what? We didn't punish you by going to stand in the corner. We took the ruler, the big one, and hit you on the eye. And that worked. We didn't do it, we threw it, but that was the punishment. Now it is over. They don't.
The last one.
When I was in Zambia, in the schools, like they used to do like punishments, like they used to beat kids with rulers, and then if it was like extreme, like if you didn't do homework, you have to kneel outside with rocks.
Yes. Yes, that was another punishment. You would go and kneel out on the rocks. Or in boarding school, we had to go and dig in the garden. Can you imagine you digging in the garden? No? You are punished to go and dig the garden for 1 week.
I'll be sitting on those ones.
Okay. So I want to tell you another interesting story. So, you know, after all this racism, our educated men, decided to rebel against the government. They wanted justice. So this is where I'm saying one Zambia, one nation. All the people from each tribe, they had one person to represent the freedom fighters. So we had people like Kaunda from the northern province, Mwansaka Pwepwe from the northern province, we had Mr. Mlemba from northwestern, Lewanika and Mundia, Skotawina and all those from western province. We had each tribe was represented. And these people formed the first of all, the first protest was formed by Mr. Harry Mwanga Nkombola, who was from the Ila tribe. He was very educated. So he formed the ANC, African, National Congress. And then Kaunda and Kapwepwe formed the UNIP. And then the others joined. So these people did that with it because they got something. The gentleman there from Ghana, because they heard of Dr. Kwame Nkrumah and all that. That's how our freedom fighters wanted to follow what the West Africans had done. And they fought, and they did just not protest by words. There was violence, and we called it cha-cha-cha. It's like cha-cha-cha and dance. So they did civil disobedience, throwing rocks, blocking roads. A few people who were unfortunate died. But anyway, finally, the British relented and gave us the independence. See? And then there was another protest, which I think many people don't know about. There was a lady in Zambia called Lenshina. Lenshina means Regina. She was the first one to protest against the British government. First of all, she protested against the Catholic Church. Because she was Bemba, but then, in those days, we had to learn Latin. All the services in the Catholic Church were in Latin. And this lady was a catechist or a teacher. She said, why are we learning Latin? It's so difficult. Why can't we teach in Bemba? Obviously, the Catholic Church expelled her. So you said, it doesn't matter, I'm going to have my own church. And she managed to have a large group. People followed her. And the church was called the Lenshina Church. All our friends from Chipata joined. All our friends from Tanzania joined. People from Zaire joined. And then they started they said, we are not going to pay tax to the government. And that, the British were very annoyed about a woman doing such things. So they tried to tell her to stop. She didn't stop. And, she had to fight with the military, the army of the British government. And they were very, very strong. They were not afraid. The military went to the village. She made a village. The headquarters was Zion. I don't know whether she was related to the Israelites. But then she said, her village was Zion. They went there, and these people thought if they put leaves, I think they grew the leaves on their arms, and they thought they would do. She convinced them that they could fly. And if they couldn't fly, they got on top of the houses and they said, we are going to fly over the bullets. They never flew over the bullets, they were all killed. A lot of them were killed. The few ran away into Zaire and Tanzania, and Lenshina herself and her husband was jailed. But it was something, a woman challenging the British government. And after that, that's when the freedom fighters also challenged the British government. And then you heard of Mushala. You know? Mushala was another rebel. You know? But Mushala was not so much for Zambia. He was a freedom fighter for Angola. But you know, all the freedom fighters around us came to Zambia. Even the ANC in South Africa were trained by Zambians. And Savimbi was trained in Zambia. And Machel, they were trained in Zambia. So Mushala was part of that. And then he sort of rebelled and he started even killing people. And it was a big thing. They couldn't arrest or kill that man. Somehow, they say he had medicine, he could disappear, and all that. So all the government people failed to kill him, but he was killed by just a single man, a villager from his area. So those are some of the... Thank you very much. Okay, the last thing I want to tell you is, you know, when I was your age, guys, you know, I used to sing the national anthem. You know? The national anthem I sang when I was your age was, God save our precious King, long live our noble King. We didn't know the king. And then after some grades, we started singing, God save our gracious queen, long live our noble queen. We never saw the queen. The king was King George of Britain. The queen was Queen Elizabeth. Those were our king and the queen. You see? Thank you very much. I'm sorry for boring.
Those were some amazing stories.
Thank you, Mama.
I know if my history teacher taught class like that, I would have passed history 100% with flying colors. If you learned something today, please give a round of applause. It was amazing. Oh wow, that was beautiful. But our next guest here is the USC president, and this man has the best name I've ever heard, so forgive me if I do butcher this, but if I could please introduce Adam Avotri. A quick word for you, please.
Thank you very much. He said a quick word, right? So I'm going to make it very quick. So, good evening to all of you. One Zambia, one nation. Yes? All right. So, first of all, I'm here with my wife, Alice. If you want to say hi to everybody. I'm over here with Reverend Dr. Lomote. He's the secretary of the UAC. So the UAC, if you don't know, the UAC is the umbrella entity, the Union of African Communities. And it's just that one entity that brings all the countries together so we can present a united front. Why is that important? It's important because of the stories we just heard. This story of Zambia sounds just like the story of Ghana. That's where I'm from. Somebody finds something good about you, finds a way to come to you, and tries to suppress you. And the way to do it is make you think your brother is your enemy. And that's what we have to look out for as Africans. We just need to be wise. After all these years, after all the education, I think it's important not to see Zambians or Ghanaians or Nigerians or Senegalese. We should see ourselves as one Africans. Because it is very important. It is very important. And the one funny thing in the story is, not where we were laughing about using a rod to beat a kid. That's how I was raised. and somebody tells you that discipline is abuse, and see where our kids are today. There's things that you don't give up. I mean, you want to be careful and wise about it, but there are things that we had as traditions that made us what we were, that had other people interested in us. So by God, I pray that we don't throw everything away, because it is so important that we retain the important traditions that make who we are. And I want to thank the Zambia folks.
Customer service, everything is straightforward. Once somebody invitate you, come to carry your needs. But now here they say, come to Zambia. Oh no, I'm done.